Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is July the 6th, and I've got so many good ideas for you guys that I'd like to share. But we're going to start today's off with the hack of the week for Wednesday, July the 6th. I know, baby. And it's going to be about painter's tape. So, Buttercup, you got to get down. Alright, so with that being said, let's dig in. I love painter's tape. It's my go-to for so many of my projects. If I need to build up my ledge, so I'm going to start there. Anytime that I need to do it, like a ledge, because I feel like things are catching right here, I go to my go-to. And as you can tell, I use it quite a lot. So it's really quite simple. All I do is pick me off a little tidbit. And normally I would fold down the edge so I don't have to do the digging. But it's almost to the end of this roll. So I tear myself off a healthy little section because no one's going to see this but me. And I just start tearing. And I use it to this little lip here. Sometimes some things that we're cutting on, it makes it feel like we're catching. So I put a couple little pieces there just so it'll glide just a little bit more smooth. So if you have that same problem like I do, you don't realize it, but like if you're nesting a lot of seams and things, it feels like it catches. So that's my go-to little tidbit for there. Then I'm going to take this off because of course I'm not sewing right now. You can also use this to make yourself a marking on your sewing machine. So what I do normally is I would go to my handy ruler, and we've got our marking on it. This is one of the So Yeah rulers. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but I'll bring it like this. And what I'm trying to show you is your 1/4 inch line right here. So what I do is bring this over to my machine, and I hand crank my needle just so it's laying right there. Even though I have my foot on, then I bring my tape over and I have my line. And then I hand crank back up, and that is my absolute no fail. That's my line. If I'm afraid I might shift over, I'll put a couple extra little pieces like this one and just build me a little nest there so that I'll be able to feel it as I'm coming next to it with my fabrics, because Lord knows we sew more than one layer at a time. So I'll do this. So that gives you a little idea of what I do just for if I want to keep that true 1/4 inch. Some of our patterns do call for a scant 1/4 inch, so I'll move it over just that little scant. So I'm going to pick this back off, and it comes off quite easily. Doesn't leave a residue on your machine. And I'm going to repurpose this yet again for my machine. So that's one way of marking it. I have my bobbin right here, so I don't like to leave that covered up. So let me slip this here because I'm just using this for just visual for you. So right now I have my seam guide tape there. So what I'm going to do is, there's a lot of times I do have square triangles and I don't like to mark. So for time efficiency, I can use this, and it's just going to be my go-to line straight up. So if you don't have any painter's tape in your little bag of tricks, that's one thing you can use. It's a no-fail, no-brainer, and it works great. So with that, I'm going to shift over. This is my love. I love, love, love this. This here is my marking tape. And I put this right here every time, and I put it right on where I put my bobbin in. Let me show you. It's due to be, I got to clean my machine. So every time I clean my machine, I put this right there. And it gives me that true 1/4 inch when I'm doing my little tiny piecing, because I like to do the 1 inch blocks and things. And if I see I'm going to have any waste in anything that I'm doing, I'll go ahead and make that bonus block. But this is my seam guide tape, and I run it straight down the front of my machine. And it's not just there, but I'll bring it straight down here as well. This is just another tool that I keep in my little toolbox of tricks. So with that being said, there's still more that we can do, and it's always fun. At points in time, as I was measuring, I would mark my rulers with the markers, the permanent markers. That does come off with fingernail polish remover, and it does not distort or hurt. But another thing that I've learned along the way is I can use my painter's tape, and I'm going to just give 2 fictitious measurements to show you something. And let's say I'm going to do a 2.5 by 2.5 inch block. So I'm going to line this up on my 2.5 inch line, and then I'm going to do the same over here. And then you're going to see why this is important. I would cut this off under normal circumstances, but just for showing you today, I'm just going to leave it on so it'll be easier for me to take off. So you're going to be able to see right here is your true quarter, your true 2.5 when you're squaring down your blocks. And the easiest way that I found that works perfect for me, you have your diagonal line here. And this is just a Fiskars ruler. But see where your little point is here. When we're doing half square triangles, you have this line. So all you're going to do is bring it down, make sure your line's straight, and come across. Nest it here in the corner, and then do your trimming up here. Turn your block, and then repeat the same process. You're going to get the same block every time, and you're not going to be fidgeting with your ruler just to get it done. And it's a no-fail, works every time. And if I'm just putzing around, I use that mark that's already there for my 2.5. But I know it's one that I use quite often. Another thing is I have the Quilter Select now, and it's got the grip back so it doesn't slide. I love the marking lines on it. If you haven't tried one, the only thing I don't like is that glazed look. But versus my fabric shifting, I just love this. And the next time that we go over to Bedford County, I'm going to buy me the smaller, like, just so that I have it so I can maneuver a couple things. But I wanted to show you this too. Even though it's got its diagonal line, and this is an 8 by 8 inch, you can also, just so when your fabric's laying there and you just kind of want to make sure everything's lined up and everything's perfect, because I'm learning along the way I have a tad bit of OCD. When it comes to, I like everything lined up pretty swell. So, as you can see, I've marked it here on my line. So all I have to do is nudge it in and put it right where I want it. And I'm going to get that to where I'm cutting my pieces exactly the way that I want them, and it doesn't hurt your rulers in any way. So that's just one more little tidbit that works perfect. So with all of that being said, there's just one more little tidbit as we mark our fabrics, and we all have our own ways of doing things. I picked up on this little tidbit, and I wanted to share because I think we all might have this in our toolbox, but we're not sure. We all use our friction pins. I know I'm a friction pin girl, but I've learned sometimes you can iron it out because it tells us we can iron it out and it's not going to come back. I've learned over time that if I use red and it gets cool outside, whatever my marking, no matter what, that red's coming back. But I haven't had the problems with my blue or my black. I don't know whether it's the red dye they put in it. I don't know. But my reds do come back. So I'm trying to get away from using them on when I'm free motion or whatever. I've shifted gears and I'm marking things with chalk. It'll come right out. Doesn't hurt your machine at all. Doesn't gunk it up. and you can make some pretty cool designs on your fabric, even if you're doing it on your domestic. And all you have to do is brush it right off. I wouldn't mark a whole quilt with one, because by the time your hands have shifted, but in little sections, it's definitely a really cool go-to, and it works perfect. Like I said, it's just a quick dust off and you're done. So that's my tidbits and hacks for the kickoff of June. I mean July. I hope you all had a fabulous 4th and everything was great for you and your family. So I'll catch you again in the next Hack of the Week on Wednesday. You guys have a great week, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.